What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Back Pocket Podcast. I am Serge Canali, and today I'm going to be doing another NFL mock draft. And just so you know, if you've been following the channel, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And obviously, this is going to be probably one of our more, um, it's going to be a video we're going to be doing a lot more, especially with draft season. Like I said, probably my favorite time all year just to talk about draft prospects. Especially, I'm a Jets fan, bro. We basically this our Super Bowl. So can't wait to talk about this. We have three other hosts, just so you know, Key and Charlie and Dylan. So make sure to check out their videos and all of our draft coverage. So make sure to stay tuned on that. But let's get straight into the video. Starting off with the first pick, you have the Chicago Bears. And for me, I mean, this is an easy one at this point. Caleb Williams, I think, will be the pick. I know they have Justin Fields, but there are just so many rumors at this point floating around about him being traded. Caleb Williams, not sure if he's quite generational, but the ceiling he has certainly does warrant that. I think obviously when you look at his play style, so a lot of people will say Mahomes. I see a bit of Kyler Murray in there, where he's able to kind of a taller version of him, where he's able just to kind of sift through the pocket. Obviously throw from arm angles that are like absurd, kind of like Mahomes, but his escapability is also amazing. And I just think this is a home run pick for the Chicago Bears here. Second pick, Commanders, been a decent amount of talk here. I'm gonna go Drake May. I'm gonna go Drake May, and I think that May is probably, I would say, um, this. I don't know. I wouldn't even say the safer pick between the two, but he's just been the guy that I think also provides a similar ceiling actually to Caleb Williams, in my opinion, and obviously he's got that prototypical size. I think he's out of structure play just because it's not to the same level as Caleb is somehow disregarded, but he's also like if you watch his highlights at UNC, you can see that he's making kind of absurd plays that are like elite NFL level throws. And I think the Commanders, obviously, if they're in this position, I really can't see them not taking a quarterback. I know Daniels rumors have been floating around, but for me, May just seems like the way too obvious pick. Yeah, that's I would say May to the Commanders. Third pick got the Patriots. Tough. Very, very tough. I'm kind of gone back and forth. I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels. I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels here. And the reason why is that like I said, Patriots, um, you're not gonna be up here that many times. So when you have a chance to get a franchise quarterback, you get it. Jaden Daniels, someone that probably definitely I would say has the best rushing ability of any quarterback in this class. Pretty good arm as well, good release. And I think obviously for the Patriots team starting a very new era, I think the new regime wants to get their future quarterback. I think Jaden Daniels definitely has the capabilities. Patriots don't really have a lot of amazing options on offense, but that can obviously be built through free agency and obviously this draft, which is just loaded with talent in the mid rounds. So I think they get their quarterback of the future here in Jaden Daniels. Fourth pick, Arizona Cardinals. This is the easiest pick of the draft, even easier than Caleb. If Marvin Harrison is on the board for the Cardinals at 4, they're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. Just makes sense. Match made in heaven. Kyler Murray kind of needs his receiver one, has needed one really ever since DeAndre Hopkins left. And I think Marvin Harrison is probably one of the better draft receiver prospects we've ever seen come out. He's got it all. He's got route running, he's got size, speed, he can win contested, he can win kind of just by again creating separation. There isn't really a weakness to Marvin Harrison's game, and there are a lot of strengths. And I think he could step in here and immediately be a top 10 receiver in the NFL. It would not surprise me in the least. So, pretty obvious pick for the Cardinals here. Fifth pick, Chargers, not so easy pick. A lot of options here. I mean, you still got Malik Neighbors and Roma Dunze, two of the better receiver prospects that would probably be receiver ones in a lot of other classes. Brock Bowers, one of the best tight end prospects, also in a long time, someone that disregarding quote unquote positional value, he's probably one of the best players in this class. Would definitely be a great pick for them here. But I'm actually gonna go with Joe Alt from Notre Dame. I think Harbaugh is someone that really wants to build the trenches for this team, kind of make sure Justin Herbert's protected well. And like I said again, very deep class, especially at receiver. And I think that the Chargers are going to be a team that will probably take offensive line, make sure Herbert's protected, their franchise quarterback is protected, and then get him weapons in the later rounds. I think there's definitely a good chance they can get someone like a Roman Wilson, a Legend, Xavier Worthy, any of those guys in the second round, and they would be great producers from day one as well. So they get a tackle, which in today's NFL is definitely a lot more coveted. So they go Joe Alt there. Giants at 6, they take Malik Neighbors. I do like the Giants receiving core. I think guys like Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, all pretty underrated, but I don't think they have that alpha receiver out of that group yet. And I think with the top 3 quarterbacks off the board, it's hard for me to see the Giants going JJ McCarthy. I like JJ McCarthy. I don't think he's a top 6 pick. So they go Malik Neighbors. Again, elite yards after catch potential, um probably the best player after the best receiver after the catch in this draft class, I would say. Also route running superb as well. Just makes sense. He'll step in there. I think he'll be the day one receiver one in that room for whoever the quarterback is, which is definitely something the Giants have to figure out. 7th pick, Tennessee Titans. Definitely not happy Joe Alt's off the board now, but they're gonna go Olu Fashanu, the second guy, off second tackle off the board from Penn State. This is it's a tough one. It's a tough one because I think while Olu, I think actually pass blocking matches up with Alt, and someone can't argue that he's a better pass protector than Alt. Run blocking is definitely something that um leaves a lot to be desired there. And with the Titans, obviously, they've had Derrick Henry for a long time. They love to run the ball. He's probably not going to be there next year, but still, it's definitely something that Olu Fashanu will have to work on still in this offense. But I think just pass pro wise, you're not going to see someone as polished as him um, out of all the rest of the tackles. I mean, I think they definitely all have potential, and this is an insanely good tackle class. But I think Fashanu is probably the most polished, while also offering um, a a high ceiling, but a pretty decently high floor as well. So Titans go Fashanu at 7. 8th pick, you have the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to go Dallas Turner. Um, just makes sense to me here. I think Raheem Morris, obviously coming in as a defensive head coach, the Falcons have always kind of missed that edge piece, that guy, and I think that would be Dallas Turner's the perfect guy they'd probably want to get in, trying to develop someone who has really freakish measurables. He's huge. I think 6'4", 6'5", I'm not really sure, but he ran like a 4.3, a 4.47 as an edge rusher, which is just insane. Not as polished as Will McDonald, definitely, but the ceiling is there, and it just makes sense for again, like I said, an Atlanta defensive head coach who really kind of wants to get a cornerstone of the defense. When they've got some good pieces, especially on the interior of the line, I think Turner will get a lot of favorable matchups and could potentially thrive in year one. So I'm gonna go hem to the Falcons. 9, you got the Chicago Bears. Easy pick. It's Rome Odunze. Um, I think with Odunze, you have probably someone that is just for Caleb Williams, this is probably one of the best situations a quarterback will ever go into, like a number one overall pick quarterback will ever go into, because the Bears weren't the worst team in the NFL, and they have two top 10 first round picks. And getting a guy like Rome Odunze, like I said, top 3 guys would be receiver ones in a lot of other classes. Someone that can just win in a multitude of ways, a pretty good route runner. Also great with contested catches, has sneaky good speed too, in the 4.4s. I think it's a perfect match for a Bears team that has already a solid offensive line. So they go Dunze there. 10, got the New York Jets. I'm gonna go Talise Fuaga from Oregon State. I'm gonna say Fuaga just because I think with him, he I don't love his pass blocking as much as some of the other guys. He still hasn't allowed any sacks. I just doubt kind of you see sometimes he's getting beat by speed rushes off the edge, and that is something that does raise a little bit of concern. But overall, I think he's the best run blocker in this class. I still think he is above a pretty good pass blocker. But I think with the Jets, a team that really loves to run the ball, I think with Breece Hall, I think this pick just makes sense, and he's still someone that will definitely provide a lot better protection from whatever Aaron Rodgers or Zach Wilson basically was getting over the entirety of last season. So if Waga to the Jets, 11, you got the Minnesota Vikings. This is a prediction, by the way, might I add. I think they're going to take JJ McCarthy at 11. Kirk Cousins, from what you're seeing, doesn't. I don't know if he's going to be back. It's very uncertain. I think a lot of people have been saying Atlanta is a possible destination for him. And McCarthy, I think someone that we know the Vikings have in the past few years kind of very sneakily been trying to get their young guy of the future, whether I think it was Richardson last year, there were some rumors about that. I think they do that this year with JJ McCarthy. I mean, again, pretty good situation for a rookie quarterback to step into when you have guys like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson to throw the ball to in your rookie year. Obviously, I think he's someone that despite being so young, he's only just turned 21. He's still, I think, very um I think he's someone that actually since he's ran an NFL team, he's probably more pro ready than some of the other guys. Like I would even say he's might be more pro ready than a guy like maybe a Drake May. Obviously I don't think he has the ceiling of May, but I think pro readiness I think is there, especially if you see the first half of the season. And again, it's a risk. It's a risk, but I think the Vikings would take that chance if he was available at 11 again. I think there's a scenario where they would also trade up to get McCarthy, but here I have him taking him at 11, 12 Broncos. They go Brock Bowers here. Just BPA. I don't see Brock Bowers really sliding anywhere past like I mean, I think 15 at the very, very latest, but let's be real. He's a top 10, in my opinion, he's a top five prospect in this entire draft class. And the only thing that will, again, make him go down is team needs. We see obviously four quarterbacks, how good this receiver class is as well, offensive line, team needing offensive line. But overall, in my opinion, he's a top five player in this draft class, disregarding positional value. And I think Denver, again, a team that may be getting rid of couple of their weapons. Cortland Sutton might be gone. Jerry Jeudy might be gone. They're getting rid of Russ. I think this is a chance. This is a scenario where they miss out on McCarthy, someone that I could really see them getting. I think they just surround whoever their new quarterback is with the best possible weapon. I think Brock Bowers could be that de facto receiver one in year one for the Broncos. Again, probably one of the best tight. I like him more than Kyle Pitts, who is also dubbed a generational talent. I think Bowers just offers so much route running wise and after the catch wise. So he'd be my pick there at 12. 13 now, you have the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Latham is tempting. Latham is tempting. Hmm. I'm gonna go Terry on Arnold here. I think he's probably the best cornerback in this class. I think that's what most NFL scouts would say. At this point, he's the best. Or him or Kenyon Mitchell. It's pretty tough. I really like Terry on Arnold. Um, Someone that I think really tested pretty well at the combine, interviewed pretty well at the combine as well. Raiders, obviously. Um, they've got Nate Hobbs there. They also got Jack Jones, but I think they still need kind of that alpha guy. Terry Arnold would be, I think, has the potential to be that guy for the Raiders. I could also see them going edge here if they want to kick Tyree Wilson inside. I'm not really sure, but I will go corner here. They go Terry Arnold, 14th pick. Now, New Orleans Saints. I'm gonna go all the way down here, Troy Fatanu, someone who, speaking of testing really well at the combine, I think Fatanu was probably one of the biggest winners of the combine, just so showing kind of his athleticism and agility, which kind of shows that also he is listed as a tackle, and I think he will play tackle next level, but he's definitely got the ability to go to guard as well and be a great contributor there. He's going to be a great contributor in the run game, like I said, with that agility. Great pass blocker, obviously, as well. Washington had one of the best offensive line groups in the country. And I think obviously the Trevor Penning pick hasn't really worked out the way the Saints would have hoped. And I think again, kind of stuck with Derek Carr at this point. So I think they go offensive line to help him and get Troy Fatanu there. 15th pick now, Indianapolis Colts. I'm gonna go second corner off the board here. I'm gonna go Kenyon Mitchell, from Toledo. Someone who I think again, another guy that's really been rising up draft board. Someone with probably I would say the best ball skills in this entire draft class. Fast as well. Had a really, really good Senior Bowl, and the Colts. They tagged Michael Pittman. They've got Josh Downs there as well. I think they can afford to wait for the second round for a receiver, and I think they go cornerback, which I think is a more pressing need for them. Take Kenyon Mitchell there. 16th pick, Seahawks. I'm gonna go Byron Murphy. And this is just, I think this is totally influenced by the fact that the Seahawks have Mike McDonald now. And I think having a guy like McDonald having a guy like McDonald means that Seattle really want to build up the spine of the team. Where you saw with the Ravens, they had guys like Matabike on the interior, guys like Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen on the at linebacker, and obviously the safeties with being Kyle Hamilton, probably the best safety in the league this year. So I would say that the Seahawks will probably try and emulate that. They've got some solid pieces on that interior. I think they will re-sign um, Leonard Williams, considering the capital they gave up to get him. I think he will be re-signed. I also think Draymond Jones is a solid piece as well, but I think Byron Murphy really has high potential there. So I think they go him at 16, 17. The Jaguars, one of those teams that really made a lot of moves. Um a team that really made a lot of moves, cutting a lot of pieces. They got rid of kind of some interior help, getting rid of Foley Fatukasi, got rid of Darius Williams. So there definitely are a few needs for the Jaguars. Also, probably going to be losing Calvin Ridley in free agency. So receiver, definitely an option. Definitely very much in play here. Um, Cornerback also position of need. I'm gonna go Cooper DeJean. I think DeJean is someone that is really I would say a Swiss Army knife. Obviously you can play him at out. I think you can play him at boundary corner, which is I think the Jaguars will do considering their need. But you can also play nickel. He can play safety. Got amazing speed. It was definitely I would say he was the best player on Iowa's elite defense this year. And again, like I said, Jaguars really need help at corner, getting rid of Darius Williams outside of Tyson Campbell. Um, Not a lot to love there, so I think they go DeJean there and kind of form one of the better duos in the league. 18 now, got the Cincinnati Bengals. They will be thanking their lucky stars, and I don't see this happening draft day, but they will be thanking their lucky stars that JC Latham fell this far because he is someone that I think really has a lot of potential as in this league. I think for me, he would be my tackle three in this class. I don't think the league sees it the same way, but I think someone that really doesn't get it's so hard to dominate him. He's like just a mammoth of a man. But also, I mean, he's someone that's pretty light on his feet. He's not someone that is like not athletic at all. Didn't really test that much of the combine, but I think the film backs up that he is someone that is very pro ready and is capable of stepping in and being the right tackle for the Bengals from day one. And obviously their goal since Joe Burrow has got theirs has been to protect Joe Burrow, and Latham's a good step there. So they go Latham at 18, 19 now. You got the Rams. Corner's a need. Corner is a need for them, but at the same time, Laiatu Latu here is just too good too good value. I mean, the main concern with Latu, I guess, would be injuries. Yeah, I think the combine should have probably cleared that up, but he is one of the best defensive prospects, albeit not in a great defensive class. I don't think it's a bad defensive class, but it's not a great defensive class. But he is he is probably he I think a lot of teams would say he's the best edge rusher in this class. Definitely I'd say he's more polished than Dallas Turner. And I think he goes here at 19 for the Rams, who really they have that interior presence. They have obviously Aaron Donald, one of the best defensive players ever, and you have Kobe Turner there, who also had a very good rookie year. Don't have that same presence at edge rusher, and I think Latu will help to fill that there. 20th pick now, got the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think they go Amarius Mims here, pair up with his former teammate Broderick Jones. He'll be at right tackle. Jones will be at left tackle. Someone that just is a freak. And I know this is kind of a very um insane class in terms of athletic and just mammoths for offensive linemen, but Mims stands out above the rest. I mean, I think he's 6'7", 6'8", ran the 40-yard dash. I don't know what it was 40 yard time. It was something crazy. I don't remember, but he's probably the most the highest ceiling of all offensive linemen. The main concern obviously is injuries, missed time with Georgia. Only he started in the college football playoff and looked great there. And I think if he's healthy, I would be surprised if he isn't a great NFL player. And the Steelers already are building up a pretty solid offensive line. We saw it improve from last year, obviously, with Broderick Jones and the additions of James Daniels and Isaac Samalo. So I think they go Mims there and just makes it probably one of the better units in the NFL starting next year. Um, Going on to the 21st pick now, Miami Dolphins. Uh, I think they go Jerjon Newton. I think Wilkins seems good as gone at this point, which is it's tough for the Dolphins, but I mean they have no cap space to work with. They can't spend, they have to cut, and Wilkins going to be a huge loss there. I know they also need help on the interior, which makes Jackson Powers Johnson a guy that would be in play here. I think they go D line here, and I think they invest more in that by re-signing maybe a guy like Robert Hunt or Connor Williams in free agency, maybe getting another guy for cheap, and they go D line in the draft. And Newton, I really like him, someone that's a little bit undersized, but I think has a very good argument to also be D lineman one in this class. And obviously, Christian Wilkins are it's pretty big shoes to fill, but I think Jerjon Newton would definitely be a huge boost for them in his rookie year. 22nd pick now, Philadelphia Eagles. I think Jackson Powers Johnson is just too obvious of a pick here. I mean, Jason Kelsey just retired a few days ago, and Jackson Powers Johnson, while no one's going to fill probably arguably the greatest center of all time's shoes, Jackson Powers Johnson is probably the best option they have like on the market. If he were to fall here, I could see the Eagles also trading up because I know teams literally the last three teams are all candidates to take him. I just passed on him because I thought Latu, Mims, and Noon were all too good and made too much sense for these teams to pass on them. But Jackson Powers Johnson is just, I think, one of the safest picks in this class. It would keep Jalen Hurts upright, would keep the Eagles' offensive line as one of the better units in the NFL, even if it is missing that Hall of Fame presence. They still got Mailata, they still got Lane Johnson, they still got Landon Dickerson, and Jackson Powers Johnson is just another great addition to that team. Um, Now you got pick number 23, Houston Texans, and Demeco Ryans, a defensive guy. He's gonna love that Jared Verse fell here. Don't know what the Texans are doing with Jonathan Grenard. I do not know. I could see him resigning. I could see him resigning. I could still see Jared Verse being the pick. I mean, he comes from San Francisco, same line as guys like Robert Saleh who love to rotate their defensive linemen. If you give them a edge group of Will Anderson, Jonathan Grenard, and Jared Verse, that is scary for the rest of the league, and especially with an offense that has CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, I mean Tank Dell. It's scary to have a defense that good. I think Jared Verse, it just makes too much sense for a guy like Demeco. Again, he's one of the better developers of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Just makes too much sense here. 24th now, 24th pick, Dallas Cowboys. Um, they need tackle help. I mean, Tyron Smith, one of the best tackles in the league, unlikely to re-sign. So they need to go tackle. Right tackle also need, considering the poor play of Terrence Steele last year. I think they go Tyler Guyton, another guy. I mean, I sound like a broken record here, but he's another guy with just an insane ceiling in this class. Someone that again also could use a bit of developing, a bit of fine tuning, but also has a ceiling to be one of the better tackles in the league. And I think again the Cowboys, who again really have holes at both tackles. I think they can invest in tackle and free agency. I don't think there are a lot of great options, especially if they're not re-signing the best one on the market. So I think they go Guyton there. I still think they do sign a tackle in free agency. I don't know who it will be, but Guyton will start from day one. May have some growing pains, but again, the Cowboys, they've developed some good offensive linemen. Tyler Smith, Zach Martin, obviously a bit longer before. So I really like this pick for Dallas. Again, like I said, O-line is so important in today's league. I think we've seen some of the teams that have gone from worst to first, like the Detroit Lions. They've done it by building the trenches, and I think the Cowboys will do that in this draft. 25th pick now, Green Bay Packers. I'm gonna go Nate Wiggins from Clemson. Someone that's a bit skinny, but I mean speed, man. He has it. 4.27, I want to say was his time. One of the fastest cornerbacks in this class. Someone that's also got solid size. Very arguably was cornerback one in this not was is cornerback one in this class, and getting him at 25 is just great value um for the Packers. And Jair Alexander, don't know what's going on there, but they did trade away Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes, a guy that's really kind of been in and out of the lineup with injuries, and he might be a slot corner anyway. So I think Wiggins makes sense to fill up the other boundary spot there. 26 pick now, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They re-signed Mike Evans, and they still have Chris Godwin, so I don't think receivers to be a pick there. Um, I think they go edge. I think they go Chop Robinson, someone who also I think really good value to scoop him up here at 26. Really high pass rushing upside. Probably has the best first step, I would say, in this entire class. I would argue that for sure. Maybe Dallas Turner has something to say about that, but his is special. A bit undersized, not really undersized, but I don't think he's as a great run defender necessarily, and maybe a in pass rush specialist at during the start of his career. And I think that's fine for the Bucks. A team that another team that really has good interior presences with obviously Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey, but didn't get a lot of pressure off the edge in the playoffs, especially we saw that. And I think Chop Robinson is someone that even if he is a pass rush specialist, that's going to be something that they covet there. So I think he will be the 26th pick. 27th now, Arizona Cardinals already got Marv. They need D line. Would have hoped that one of Murphy or Noon fell here, but they won't. They didn't. Um, there are options here at edge rusher. Darius Robinson is tempting. Cornerback also tempting here. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go Ennis Rakestra, um, from Mizzou, someone who, obviously another guy that's kind of been hampered by injuries, but if not, he could be also vying for a top spot in this corner class. It's a pretty the difference in talent between a lot of the corners is pretty even compared to previous years. A lot of the guys that I think we could see different teams with different cornerback ones and cornerback twos, very different. And Rakestra is a guy that again I really like, and I think Gannon needs that. Obviously the Cardinals, I think even though they didn't have a great season, they still felt like they were in every game. They played pretty well for a rebuilding team, but I think that defense definitely let them down from time to time, and I think getting a guy like Rakestra would help that unit a lot. 28th pick now, you got the Buffalo Bills coming off their fire sale today, getting rid of guys like Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Mitch Morse. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone. They also traded away Ryan Bates yesterday, but cleared a lot of cap, which they needed to. They were very much over the cap, but now they need. I think a lot of those players weren't necessarily going to start anyways, and I actually don't think they were bad moves at all. But there is one hole that I think that the team did allow to happen in their roster because of cutting that was getting rid of Mitch Morse, something that did surprise me there. I think they addressed that in the draft. I know they need a receiver, but I think Diggs and Shakir are viable pieces at receiver one and receiver two. And I think they'll, again, I say this a lot, but it makes sense in this draft class. They'll save that for day two. And I think they will go Zach Frazier from West Virginia. Um, I think Zach Frazier is someone that probably one of the better run blocking centers in this draft class. Someone that obviously I don't you've probably heard it before, but he's had a background in wrestling. And it shows up. He plays violent. He plays strong. And I think it definitely feels like the new mentality Buffalo are trying to have where they're not just relying on the arm and legs of Josh Allen. They're also trying to um pound the rock like we saw against Dallas, like we saw a lot of times really in December and January. And I think Zach Frazier fits the identity and also is a cheap option at center that could potentially give you top 10 play there for an offensive line that was already pretty good last year. May not even need to start immediately. So I think, but I think he would in this situation. So I'm gonna go Zach Frazier there. for the Bills. 29, Detroit Lions need defense. Need defense. I know Graham Barton is tempting with Jonah Jackson and Graham Glasgow both being free agents, but I think one of those will be re-signed. I'm sure they might get another guard during free agency. I think they need to go defense. They need defense. Darius Robinson is tempting. Don't I'm not really I like him. I don't know if you can draft him just because I mean, you can draft him, but I just think you don't really know if he's going to be a defensive lineman or an actual like an edge rusher. I don't know if he's not really fast enough to be like a stand-up edge rusher. I mean, Lions do have more of a hand. They have Hutchinson, a guy that's probably more based on power, solid speed as well. But I think they would want maybe more of a speed rusher there. So I don't think they will go Darius Robinson. I think all of these other guys would be reaches here. For example, a guy like Braylon Trice or Chris Braswell. So I don't think they go there. I think they go cornerback. Huge need. Kool-Aid McKinstry at 29, great value. I think someone who very early, like not very early, but like earlier in this draft process was almost a consensus cornerback one and has fallen a bit, not necessarily to his own fault. I guess I think a lot of these cornerbacks have um interesting traits that I think maybe are considered superior to William McKinstry's, but I think you ask a lot of receivers, like I think apparently Malik Neighbors was saying McKinstry was probably the best cornerback he faced in college. And I think he's someone that again, I think he offers a decent floor for the Lions for a team that really needs it. They're ready to contend for a Super Bowl. And what really held them back was that defense and especially the secondary, especially the cornerbacks. And I think McKinstry is goes a long way to solving that problem. 30 now, the Ravens. I can't believe I have him still on the board here, but Adonai Mitchell's the pick. Adonai Mitchell is the clear and obvious pick at this point for the Baltimore Ravens. 4.35 at the combine, 6'4", or I don't know, I think he's 6'4", but has the production there at Texas. A bit raw. You could see him sometimes maybe the questions about effort, maybe. I think his potential is just so high. And the fact that really, again, he hasn't gone earlier is not really due to his play. It's more so that, again, differing needs, also this being a really good draft class in general. But man, the Ravens are getting a steal at 30 if they get Adonai Mitchell there. 31 now. San Francisco 49ers, they go Graham Barton. Um, I think not really. I don't think I think the line held up in the Super Bowl, but like throughout the regular season, the playoffs, the one weakness to the Niners super team that was pointed out was the line, especially outside of Trent Williams. And I think Barton just makes sense because I think of his where he can play. He can play all over the line. I mean, he played right left tackle. I believe he played in college. He won't play that here, obviously, because Trent Williams, but also because I don't think he has sufficient arm length there. He could play right tackle. I could see that, but I think most likely he will be a guard or a center. But overall, that positional flexibility is huge for a team that does need offensive line like the 49ers. So I think that makes sense there. Finally, Kansas City Chiefs. Again, another guy, I would be shocked if he fell this far. This is just how the board fell. I did not anticipate this, but they would take Brian Thomas Jr. in this situation. A guy that really, throughout his career, Mahomes hasn't really had a kind of a guy that really could be an alpha X receiver like BTJ, someone that has solid route running. I think he led college football in touchdowns last season, and someone really that I think could someone that may again we saw was Rashee Rice. The Chiefs got that guy that wasn't really a size guy, someone that a pick that was kind of I wouldn't say necessarily. I mean, it was criticized a little bit, but obviously they got the best out of him. And I think Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe the concerns are obviously he's not as good a route runner as some of the other guys on this board, like a Lad McConkey or Xavier Worthy. But I think getting that different prototype of receiver for Patrick Mahomes would be huge for them. But that is it for the video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Again, we have three other hosts, Kean, Charlie, and Dylan. We will all be coming up with draft content as it comes closer and closer. Also, hopefully some free agency content as well as we go over all the many moves that will be made in the upcoming days. So excited for all that. Make sure to stick around if you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.